Hi, I am back with the next modeling time-lapse. This time I'm making a small playing table with 3 additional chairs. Like the previous model, you can get this one for free the entirety of January 2025 and probably even some time after that. First, I decided to go for a solid table plate with an inset. I've also fleshed the edges out some more with a few bevels. This time around I was using the bevel modifier right from the start, as I thought it would make it a little bit easier with all these edges. I went on to create the table legs, and I wanted to have a modern look, so I went for a thin metal design where I would put bolts in all the sides. For this I had to rotate one leg around the center by 120 and then 240 degrees to get the correct alignment of all 3 legs. I based this design on several different tables that I looked up online. After having the rough shape of the table done, you can see me here add the chair. I thought this design was very cool and it lends itself to be a coffee table, but also opts for playing cards or things like that. After that I loaded in the floor protection pads that I created for the last model and used them here on all the chairs. Next up I had to insert all the bolts, and as I mentioned in my previous video, the holes can sometimes be a little bit tricky, and I used some special trickery in this case to get it to look sort of right. Here you can see how I tried to add bevels and edge loops in order to get rid of the bad shading around the hole, but it was never quite perfect, which bothered me a little bit. In the end I was sort of alright with the result, and then put in the bolt that I had prepared beforehand. Later I repeated this process for all the sides of the table leg. I have also quickly created a square version of these floor protector pads because I thought they would fit perfectly with the also square table legs. You can see that I sometimes go back and forth between several things, and I also repeated the process of copying the chair as well as the legs several times to get a good look at the result before continuing to the next step. Which is actually what you can see now. I based the materials that I was going to use on the few example images that I had pulled up. For the wood it was always going to be a paneling design, and luckily the material from AmbientCG provided me with just that. For the chair I planned to go with a cushion on top and chose a fabric material for that as well. I had to work a little bit with the UV islands in order to get the dimensions and the positions of the textures correct. In the end here I put a simple material on all the other minor parts, and finally I was able to bake these texture maps. It was very important to have the UV islands in such a way that the most prominent and biggest features of the models are the most represented in the UVs. After baking I had to get rid of a few minor artifacts both in the color and the normal maps. This was not a big deal, and after that I wrapped this whole thing up and started to add a few simple animations. You can see me here place a few bones for each chair one, and I tried to make a natural looking animation for pulling out all the chairs. And after that the model was ready to be exported. The last step for me is to upload my model on OpenSplit.com, and this is the end of that. If you want to, you can like and share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.